Hi, I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm at Zeoli.
And today we're talking about The Mummy.
The Mummy. I love mummies.
Now, we're not talking about the Brendan Fraser mummy.
Nope.
We're not talking about the Karloff, the Boris Karloff mummy. We're talking about one that's sort of in between those two.
Yes, the Hammer Horror Mummy reboot from, I think, like the early 50s, maybe.
Yeah, with Peter Cushing.
Christopher Lee.
Lush color. Like
Look
this sort of
this.
like process, I don't know, Technicolor or CinemaScope, something, but this like color that is like very much of an era, very saturated.
Saturated. You see that like, that gloopy like blood, like it's not real, it's kind of bizarre in between.
Red blood that is like they hadn't figured out how to make convincing blood for color, because prior to that, for black and white films, famously in Psycho, they would just use Hershey's chocolate syrup for blood, and it was like,
that's spot on. Mummy and the mummies, like I was into mummies from the Crest. I keep mentioning these Crestwood monster books.
Yeah.
Like this mummy would pop up in it. Like mummies from like the Mummy's Tomb, the Mummy's Hand, Mummy's Curse.
Now, when you were a kid, would you visit like the Carnegie Museum of Natural History?
Yes. Would go. I love the mummy exhibit.
Yeah.
And the first mummy movie I saw was the 30s Mummy, the Karloff one.
Yeah.
I saw that in school because we did Egypt. We had like a history section on Egypt, and we had to build like a everyone brought like a shoebox in to make a pyramid.
Yeah.
And we watched the first Mummy in the theater, in like the auditorium on the big.
Nice, on big screen.
Big screen.
I remember that kind of stuff.
It was
they didn't wheel out the
VHS, the audio
VHS,
cart.
the audio cart. Yeah.
I just remember when I watched it because I had seen images of like this mummy and like those other mummies in that book, and when it was just Boris Karloff around, I'm like, I don't see him wrapped up enough.
Yeah,
I got bait and switch.
The Boris Karloff mummy movie, like, fuck that movie,
Yeah.
Like, because talk about like the Dracula movie, how it's got like all that great stuff at the beginning and some great stuff at the end, but like how the middle's so boring. Like that, it's even worse in that Karloff mummy movie, like Dracula thing, and push it to the extreme, because it's like, it starts off, you got this great sequence of that guy in the little room, there's a mummy, but Karloff wrapped up in the bandages.
You see his like,
and he starts, it's very tasteful, and like that little sequence is very well done. Lasts 3 seconds, but it's very well done. And then he just sees the mummy walking away and just sees like the wrapping like kind of going in and out, like somebody got toilet paper stuck to their feet in the bathroom and are walking, but then that's it. Karloff shows up again. He's a little wrinkled, but he's like, you don't see all your life. You like imagine this like mummy walking around, and it's like you got the werewolf going around, and you got Dracula going around like this, and then you got mummy going, and then it's like you watch the mummy, and there's like none of that in there.
I remember, that exact sequence you're talking about. I remember watching and being like, oh yeah, now we're cooking.
It's only going to get better from here. And then the rest of the time, he is basically like Dracula. This one, this Hammer mummy, it's the mummy you always dreamed of.
Yes, look at that.
Yeah, he's got oatmeal face. His face is like covered with oatmeal. He's got no mouth. Yeah, he just looks amazing. I feel like I've seen Jack Kirby draw a version of this, like, so this mummy must have registered with him. There's a character in the Eternals. He's this like sort of like mummy that's been buried under New York for like 1,000 years or whatever, and he kind of looks like this. I mean, it would be nice if there was a black and white mummy like this. And I know some of the mummy the sequels to the Karloff mummy had way more mummy action.
Oh, definitely.
But this one, it kind of has the expanse and the epic feel of the original Mummy.
Definitely.
Because it is like a remake of it. So you've got like all the flashbacks, all the sarcophaguses, sarcophagi, but then you get a ton of rampaging mummy
That's
action.
what you want.
And it's also, it's in color, but like the color is like old color.
Yes.
So it's like it's pushed back in time a little bit. It's not shot on location. It's these very set-like sets.
I love it.
That are like
it's like a signature to the Hammer.
Yeah, the Hammer stuff. It's like, an update of like the Universal look. The Universal, you have all these like fake trees on a set and stuff, and then this is like a color version of that.
Gorgeous.
Like, instead of the 30s and 40s, this is the 50s and 60s.
It looks great, and with this reboot too, they're pulling some elements from like those ones you're talking about with Lon Chaney as the mummy and those burning when like they set a mummy on fire, like
he strangles people.
You know. And like when I was in elementary school, we would do this. We called this the mummy. We would like pull our face.
Oh, that's kind of cool. The Jack Kirby mummy guy in the Eternals could shoot lasers out of his eyes. So I want this guy to do. I mean, he doesn't do that. You know, Halloween with like Michael Myers, Halloween, where it's like he's just got this slow walk and he's coming for you.
They should put more mummies in things.
This is like another thing in these. It's like traditional horror movies where like you got these comedian, like these sort of comedy actors playing like the town locals, like they're in the tavern or whatever, and they, you know, they're, oh, you know,
I think I saw a mummy down there.
You know, it's like Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello do meet the mummy.
They meet the mummy. I was just watching Abbott and Costello meet the mummy. Very fun, very nostalgic. I got it on VHS from Salvation Army for like 50 cents or something.
That's a great
Abbott
buy.
And Costello. I got a couple of really good VHSs. Like I'm glad I have my VHS all, you know, set up and ready to go, because you can find like little gems like that.
That's exciting.
Marx Brothers Duck Soup.
Ooh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's good. You can get the Marx Brothers stuff. I love Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
which we did. We met Frankenstein too. Scioli and Zeoli met Frankenstein. I also got a couple of DVDs. I got the Matthew Broderick Godzilla, because I've been watching all kinds of Godzilla and like. I don't think I've ever seen the Matthew Broderick one, you know, so I got to check it out.
I saw it for my birthday.
Okay.
Whatever year it came out, that was my like birthday movie.
I also bought the John McClane collection. It's like the first 3 Die Hard movies on DVD.
That's great.
And then I got like some of the old Filmation Batman cartoons on DVD.
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool.
Dude, great buys.
Great scores. Yeah, because again, like, nobody's buying DVDs are done. You know, like nobody's buying them. Everybody's getting rid of them, closing out. And then VHS is like I'd say in another year or two, VHS is the new vinyl. You know, it's coming back with a vengeance.
We should do Total Recall Teak Roadshow.
Yeah,
and where we
bring in some of our finds. That's a great idea. I think that would be really popular. Like, and me being able to watch VHSs and buy VHSs is just kind of incidental. Like, I wouldn't be doing it otherwise, but it's like I have a couple of my old video game systems. The only way I can connect them to my TV is to do it by way of a VCR. So you know, if I want to hook up the Odyssey, if I want to hook up the Atari 2600, I need to go, you know, by way of this VHS. And so I got this VHS set up. So I'm like, hey, it's easy enough to stick it in. It is kind of fun being like, oh yeah, rewinding. Like after, because like nobody was kind and rewound any of these VHSs I bought. I had to rewind, and it's like, oh yeah, rewinding, and it was bringing me back. I was remembering like how much rewinding was a part of your life.
It was huge.
It was huge, and I miss it. Like, it was an inconvenience and a bother. There's like a ritual to, you know,
definite ritual.
And then, you know, we never did this in my family and stuff. They had the rewinder.
We had the rewinder.
You put it, because it's like, we need this VCR to last forever, because this is our lifeline, and we cannot decrease the life of our VCR by wasting it on rewinding the motor, so we're going to get a separate rewinder that's, you know, replaceable. It's like $5, you know.
Tom, whenever we heard that the rewinding your tapes in your VCR was like
bad,
could be bad,
VCR, yeah.
That was like the one I was like, we can't be rewinding.
This is our lifeline. If we lose this VCR, how are we going to watch the Ernest movies? You know? How are we going to tape Ghostbusters 2 when they play it on TV?
How are we going to record the Delta Force off NBC Sunday night at the movies? Like, The Empire Strikes Back.
The Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
This is, what did it do? He's like, this
is a message from the Galactic Empire.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was like Ghoulardi or somebody. Oh. This mummy, so it's like, you got Peter Cushing. I'm not sure what role he plays. Like,
I can't remember exactly his role. I just know he's after Christopher Lee is the mummy.
Christopher Lee's the mummy. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So we got 2 Star Wars heavy hitters.
Definitely.
In here. We got Moff Tarkin and Count Dooku.
Yoda shows up in battle.
That's so crazy that, like, I mean, I guess Christopher Lee, like, he plays Amenhotep in the flashbacks, right?
Yeah.
Or is it somebody? Okay, yeah, he plays, so at least, because it's like, it's kind of a waste to get that, keep that face bandaged.
Bandaged up and like
or in oatmeal as it is in this.
It's Quaker.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, that's Christopher Lee.
There he is.
His stature, his
mass,
his physique.
And Christopher Lee was like Dracula. He's like Frankenstein and Mummy. Like, oh, I'm
what
so
a Renaissance
jealous.
man! Like, how do you not put him?
McCry.
Yeah, how do you not put him in your Star Wars movie? We talked about this before, like the initial version of Django Unchained. He was going to be Monsieur Candy.
What?
And
that's
imagine like
wild.
the satanic figure that he would have been as Monsieur Candy. And
that's a crazy.
Yeah.
Is Christopher Lee still alive? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Look at this. We're getting mummy action right here.
Bam!
Look at this.
Yeah,
this
you never saw this. He's like Karloff. Yeah, a mummy shooting gallery.
This is what I'm talking about. See,
some great action. Yeah. Karloff.
So
and he slides the spear into the mummy, and then dust shoots out the other side. How great.
And this setting too. We're talking about this like mansion.
Yeah, this like lush set. That they probably used for like a bunch of those movies, and then you have the she's sort of like supposed to be like the reincarnated pharaoh, the Farina or the priestess or whatever. In the Karloff one, I forget the name of the actress, but she's got this like great look, and she has these eyes that look like hieroglyphic eyes. She's got these big eyes. In Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's Thor, there's a character called Tana Nile, and when she first shows up, it looks like she's modeled after that actress from like the original Mummy movie. Like she's got like the big eyes and everything, and it seems like she's part of this like background soap opera in the Thor stories where he's looking for Jane Foster, and she's Jane Foster's roommate, and she seems to have some kind of powers, and she like hypnotizes Jane, sends her away and stuff, and just some of the motifs in it made me think that maybe like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee were planning to have her end up being like an Egyptian goddess, and then like they were maybe going to tie in Egyptian mythology, because they had Norse mythology, and then Hercules shows up. They start tying in Greek mythology, and maybe like they were going to tie in Egyptian mythology, and maybe even like my theory is that Jack was planning to tie in the Egyptian pantheon, and then at the last minute decided not to. Maybe because of like his growing frustration with like his business situation there, and being like, I'm not going to introduce a whole other pantheon of gods that I'm going to design and reinvent just to not have any participation. So then she ends up being like an alien. She ends up being a Rigelian colonizer instead of. But I think he was doing a mummy riff, and she was going to be like an Egyptian goddess or something. Because the name Nile, like.
Of course.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to trademark mummy alien or like. Or alien mummy, space mummy.
Well, that's like I always like the space mummy, like Martian mummies. The idea that there's like pyramids on Mars, and there's Martian mummies, and Martian sphinxes. And then they did like a thing of that in Futurama. Futurama is like the best science fiction thing ever. And like they go through science fiction tropes so fast that they've done like every imaginable thing. It's like so cool.
Wow.
But in one of the early episodes, they have this miniature like Martian sarcophagus. Like like in this, I guess Martians are like this big, and you open it up and there's a little Martian mummy in it. It's like, oh, cool. And then like one of the guys takes it and starts eating it because Martian mummies are like. In this future world of Futurama, the Martian mummies are like beef jerky. It's like they find these mummies on Mars, and then they like sell them as like a jerky treat.
Funny, they're like tiny ones.
Yeah,
man. Oh, that's
they thought of everything in there.
Anytime I see like a horror based like story with a mummy, I like get excited. Like there was a anthology called Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh, I remember that show. Yeah, I hated it. Too scary.
Too scary. In Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, there's one of the stories has Christian Slater in it, and he works like a museum, and he gets his hands on a mummy that he uses to like kill people with. Like he controls the mummy. And I was excited. I'm like, why don't they put more mummies and stuff?
I think they get too fancy with mummies now too.
Yeah.
I mean that I watched that Tom Cruise mummy movie, and I just have like the vaguest recollection of it.
I saw it too. That was part of that. Remember the Dark Universe?
Yeah, the Dark Universe. Yeah.
They had Dracula Untold, and whose idea was it? Probably Tom Cruise's. To like, he's like, you know what would be great for the Mummy franchise? Make it more like Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Mummy Impossible. Like, it was going to be a Mission Impossible sequel where they incorporated a mummy. I loved and still love the Brendan Fraser Mummy. Like the first. I didn't like the sequels, but that first Mummy.
It's so good. I'm a fan. The Stephen Sommers Mummies line where the guy's like, "What are we, mummy magnets?"
The strength of it really was like, that mummy was unstoppable. Like, you could not, like, anytime he showed up, it was bad news, and like nothing could slow him down. Like, I'd never seen a movie quite like that, where like, you know, the monster or whatever is just like
unstoppable.
That, yeah, just gonna just like
kick your ass.
Yeah,
Arnold Vosloo plays the mummy.
Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, also played Zartan in the G.I. Joe movies.
Yes, and he was Darkman in the Darkman sequels.
Yeah.
Die, Darkman, Die.
The Darkiverse. I was so excited when I saw there was a Darkman 2 straight to video.
Yes.
You know, I rented that and just was like so disappointed.
I have, for some reason, I gotta find it, Tom. You'll love it. We can do it on our show and tell the. I have a poster for Darkman 2. I don't know why. I just had to grab it. And Return of Durant.
The Return of Durant. Yeah, like, I didn't need Durant to come back. I loved Darkman. And again, like, Darkman, it was like, you know, Sam Raimi and stuff. You know, Sam Raimi doing a superhero, a dark superhero. You know, I had my notes, though. I had like a couple complaints, maybe do this, maybe change that, and I had high hopes for Darkman 2, and it was like, oh god, it made Darkman 1 look like a you know, like a classic. And I remember the Brendan Fraser Mummy, like, when it came out, it was kind of like shit on. Like, they were kind of like, oh, it came out like the week before Phantom Menace or something. People were like, oh, here's 99. Some like shitty thing to kind of wet your whistle while you're waiting for Phantom Menace. But I thought it was great, and they were kind of like, oh, it's like the Mummy, but with friends. It's like a friend. It's like, oh, we got Joey, Monica, and like it was like that. They were, but like I thought that was an unfair.
I loved it, and I it was actually the first DVD I ever owned.
Oh, really? Okay.
Was the Mummy. I very exciting. I still like. I remember getting it for Christmas. My first DVD player. I was like, I probably watched it like. I remember just like putting it in and out of the player. I'm like, this is incredible. Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. This is like the final Mummy showdown.
This is nice. Yeah, this is what you want. The Hammer Mummy. This is what you want out of a Mummy movie.
Here we go. Mummy action.
Yeah, and now he's walking a little faster. He's got a little more pep in his step.
You know, if there's a roaring fire, the mummy might be lit on fire.
Yeah, flaming mummy.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot about this during our Halloween fails episode, Tom.
Yeah.
One year I tried to go. Remember that wrestler, the Yeti?
Yeti, yeah.
Like
famous from this show.
Famous from the Total Recall show. It was basically, he's not a Yeti, he's a mummy, the Yeti.
The Yeti.
And I tried to go, I was like, I'm going to go as the Yeti to this Halloween party. And I got toilet paper and started trying to wrap myself in it. And I only got up my leg before it ripped and fell off. I had to go in a different direction.
Toilet paper's a little light. Yeah, you need, maybe it's like some old school thermal printer paper, like the kind of paper that comes out of like receipts.
Oh yeah, that would have
something
been
a little
great.
More sturdy. Like, I kept waiting for this desk to break. I guess it's too solidly constructed. They need to use it in the next movie, like when they film like a Frankenstein or something.
Oh yeah, like the desk. You want him? He like Batista bombs that guy right through it.
Yeah. I'm thinking of that scene in Superman 2 where General Zod karate chops Perry White's desk and it splits like perfectly in half. Such a great moment. His walk, man, he's got a determined walk.
Whoa!
Yeah, these are wrestling moves.
Oh, the abdominal stretch.
Yeah. He's got this one long vertical wrapping that goes all the, like from his neck to his butt. You know,
he's got a pair of Depends over his wrappings, and like there's just a big brown stain on his seat.
Yeah, he's carrying her like the Wolfman or like Dracula or something, carrying her back to his lair. I guess they're gonna go back into like the mud pit or something.
You should try this stuff on your face. Makes your skin feel incredible.
Yeah, he's getting a facial. Whoa, the mummy in this at the end, it's like Sonny Corleone. Like they're like blamming this guy away, and he's just getting like like blown into dust.
Take the gun, leave the mummy.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like Christopher Lee. Fort depends. The funny thing was
and that is in a bog.
That's not a bog.
That's just
It's an
a
open
diarrhea sea. A sea of diarrhea.
It's an open sewer.
Yeah. You've been watching the Mummy episode of the Total Recall Show, the Hammer Mummy episode of the Total Recall Show. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and the Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm at Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli or on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at cinema_tomb.
And please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli, and support me there, and you'll get access to the archives and check out various comics I've been working on for the past 3 years.
You can follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
And we'll see you next time at some other Mummy movie.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you about it, but we're working on a Total Recall production Mummy movie.
Mummy movie.
So more on that later.